One, I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kudash. Double honors goes out to the elders of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also, want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. This is the brother Shabai from the GMS Denver camp. And today, through the Spirit, I'm going to go ahead and read the 4th chapter in Baruch, in the Apocrypha. All right. And Salakia. At the very top, it says, "This is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die." All right. That's going into this truth, to going into the laws, the statutes, commandments of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. You got to have reverence for Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, and only the elect are going to show that reverence and that respect towards the Most High, come in that spirit of repentance and, keeping the laws to the best of our ability, even in our captivity. It says, "Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated," right? Turn and take hold of what? Take hold of this knowledge, take hold of this truth, gather this oil, right? And then walk in the light so that we can be illuminated. Makes me think of what King David said. Let's grab this in Psalms. Let's see. Psalm 111 and the 10th verse. Excuse me. It says, "The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments, for his praise endureth forever." You see, so if you walk in the light, like we read in Baruch, then you're going to be illuminated. When the light represents the understanding, represents the knowledge. So if you keep the commandments, you're going to have a deeper understanding. The Most High, by his nature, by default, he's going to give you a better understanding of the scriptures. "Give not thine honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation." And this is our truth. This is our Bible. This is our Holy Spirit. It belongs to the Israelites. All right? So you have the camps and these groups out there that are talking about that there's, salvation for the Gentiles, the heathen Gentiles. No, right here, "Give not thine honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee a strange nation." Well, those are all strange nations. The heathen are strange nations. So when they're saying that the heathen Gentiles can receive salvation, they're given things that are profitable, and that they're giving honor to another. They're giving honor to strange nations, and that's not what the scriptures say. Okay, the Most High he's not down with that. All right, he's not down with you in the spirit of wanting to give salvation to your Edomite friend, right? You're giving the honor to another, which the Most High, he's not down with that. Verse 4, "O Israel, happy are we, for the things that are pleasing to the Most High are made known unto us." Right? He showeth his word unto Jacob. All right, the things that are pleasing the Most High, that it's made known unto us, the Israelites, and only the elect. Really, at this time, that's the only ones he takes a delight in. All right, he only loves the elect who have the wisdom, which, remember, the fear is the beginning of wisdom. So he only, has that love towards us right now, the elect of the elect. All right, let's prove that. Wisdom Solomon 7:28. For the Most High loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom. Okay, so you got to have the wisdom. You have to have reverence. You have to be, baptize yourself in this ministry, in this truth. And if you're not doing that, then the Most High, really, he's not concerned with you right now. He's going to bring you to destruction. Okay? It says, be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved the Most High to wrath, ye were delivered unto the enemies. So the reason why we're in captivity is because we moved Yahweh to wrath. We're drinking of that cup right now, right? We're in the midst of the punishment for the curses because we didn't, we turned our back on the Most High. You have our people moving in the spirit of idolatry, calling on false names, defiling the names. All these things move our power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, to wrath. And this is why we're subject to, being under the curses, subject to our enemies, the heathen. For you provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to Yahweh. You have forgotten the everlasting power, Yahweh, that brought you up, and ye have grieved Jerusalem that nursed you. See? The Most High, he didn't just say, oh, you know what, I'm going to throw these people in captivity. No, it was because, remember, during Deuteronomy 28, you read 1 through 15, that's the blessings. If we were to follow and keep our spirits with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, we would have had those blessings. But because we didn't, and our people went off throughout history, over and over and over, the Most High, we brought him to wrath. He put us in subjection under our enemies, the heathen, the nations that are outside of the tribes of Israel. He allowed them to rule over us and to devour us, okay? Let me see. What was I had a precept in mind and it just slipped my mind. It'll come back through the spirit. Let me see. What was I going to grab? Well, I'll move on. Verse 9, it says, for when she saw the wrath of the Most High coming upon you, she said, hearken, O ye that dwell about Sion. The Most High hath brought upon me great mourning. Okay? For I saw the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting brought upon them. Right? And that's the Israelites. The men and the women, we've went into captivity. With joy did I nourish them, but sent them away with weeping and mourning. Right? Speaking of Jerusalem, personifying Jerusalem as a person and as a woman, right? Another word for Jerusalem is Zion, right? Another word for Israel, Zion, Jerusalem, Israel. Collectively, personified as a woman. Let me grab it in, what is it, Jeremiah 6:2. Yeah. Jeremiah 6:2, I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. So the Israelites, aka Jerusalem, we're likened into a comely and delicate woman, a beautiful woman, a delicate, soft woman in the Most High's eyes. And that's why he was so pissed off, because, we provoked him to jealousy. That's what I was going to grab. Yeah, that's what I was going to grab. Because we, like I said, read earlier, we brought the Most High wrath upon us. We brought it on ourselves for being disobedient. And to this day, all right? You see, our people are still under the curses, and the wrath of the Most High is still upon us. Although it's slowly being lifted, and that wrath is transferring to our enemies, as it tells you in Deuteronomy 30:7. Tells you that the curses will fall upon our enemies. Jeremiah 49:12, it says, For thus saith Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. And art thou, he shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. And drinking of what? Drinking of the cup, the wrath of the Most High. Okay, and this is talking to the Edomites, right? If you read up a little bit, you see in verse 10 it says Esau, which is Esau, Edom. So if he allowed his own people and to bring him to wrath, and we're under the curses, then how much more the heathen? Okay? Let me read it again. For thus saith Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. Meaning, we weren't supposed to drink of this cup of wrath, the Israelites. But because of our disobedience, because of our, lack of discipline, because we turned our backs on the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, He's put us in subjection under the enemies, under the heathen nations. And then he says to Esau, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. And it says, if you read 13, it drops the name Basra, right? Basra was a chief city in the land of Edom, where the Edomites dwelt. It says in verse 12, Let no man rejoice over me, a widow, and forsaken of many, who for the sins of my children am left desolate, because they departed from the law of the Most High. You see, and that's why we're being punished. You Israelites out there, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, you're being punished because of you departed from the laws of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And now you fast forward to this age, to this generation, and you're still doing it. The only ones who are coming back into the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai are the elect. The majority of our people are not the elect, and we refer to them as the 2/3, because they are the 2/3. The majority of our people are wicked and cleave unto devils, cleave unto doctrines of devils, cleave unto the ways of the heathen, right? Verse 13, it says, They knew not his statutes, nor walked in the ways of his commandments, nor trod in the paths of discipline in his righteousness. All right, and statutes, another word for statute is a law or a rule or a commandment, right? Our people they think the 10 Commandments is it. And really, our people don't even know the 10 Commandments, right? You ask someone, a random person, to name the 10 Commandments, they couldn't tell you. They might say a few, but they don't know all the commandments, and they don't understand that there's actually 613 commandments in the Holy Scriptures. They don't understand that there's a ton of laws, statutes, decrees, commandments that we are supposed to follow as Israelites. But we're in captivity, and we always tell you we keep the law to the best of our ability. But it's still important. That's why it says, blessed is he that readeth. Tells you that in Revelation, the 1st chapter. Because why? Because when you read and you study, you start to accustom yourself with the knowledge of the law of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. You grow in the spirit. You start to learn the laws that we're supposed to keep. Verse 14, let them dwell about Sion. Come and remember ye the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting hath brought upon them. For he hath brought a nation upon them from far, a shameless nation and of a strange language, who neither reverence old man nor pitied child. All right, you see that? So this has happened several times, but most recently you can go into the Europeans. They were a foreign nation that came to the Americas and colonized the so-called Native Americans and Hispanics. And also they brought the so-called black tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. They brought them from Western Africa in the slave trade, the Western Atlantic slave trade. And the reason why our people was in Africa, not only because we were scattered as a punishment, but because we were fleeing persecution. Because you have to understand that Israelites, we were originally, we were in what they call the Holy Land. That was our land. But we had to, if you know the history, that we were being punished and persecuted by the heathen. So it was really, at the end of the day, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai that gave the heathen the power to persecute us, for our shameful ways and our lack of discipline. He used the heathen to persecute us throughout all the generations, throughout all our captivities. And Baruch, he was in the Babylonian captivity. So you had these nations that were coming from afar with a strange language, meaning they weren't speaking Hebrew. They weren't speaking the language of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, this language of the Israelites. But they were given the power to rule over us, to devour us. Okay. It says in verse 16, these have carried away the dear beloved children of the widow, and left her that was alone, desolate, without daughters. But what can I help you? For he that brought these plagues upon you will deliver you from the hands of your enemies. So who's that? The Most High, Yahweh. He's allowed the heathen to fuck us up for a time, right? For an age, for ages. But he's also going to be the same one who deliver us from our enemies. Okay? For he that brought these plagues upon you will deliver you from the hands of your enemies. Okay, so how do you get out of this verse right here, after reading Baruch 4:18, how do you get that the heathen are going to receive salvation and be delivered? No, we're going to be delivered from them. When you go into that word salvation, oh shit, what happened? When you go into that word salvation, it literally says deliverance from the molestation of your enemies. So how can your enemy be delivered with you if they're one of the main reasons why you have to have salvation and be delivered from these wicked ass heathen, right? Let me get that real quick in the blue letter. salvation. Let's see. All right, let me get it out of. Let's see. Getting the word salvation. And you're going to read some of the... Alright, so when you read it in the New Testament, the word is soteria. Let me see.
Strong's G 4991. Soteria. Soteria.
Soteria, that's salvation in Greek. So when you read it, it says deliverance, preservation, safety, salvation. Deliverance from the molestation of enemies. Alright, so we're being delivered from our enemies. Alright, and the enemies of our people are the heathen, right? Psalms 83:1. It says, keep not thou silence, O the Most High. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Most High. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. The enemies, right? They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. You Israelites are the hidden ones. You're hidden because you were never taught you were the Israelites. It's hidden to our people until now, right? Because the Holy Spirit is dealing with the elect, starting out with the prophets, giving us the understanding of who we actually are according to the Bible. It says, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, talking about our enemies, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, and they are confederate against thee. Confederate means they're together against us. The tabernacles of Edom, the so-called white people, right? The Ishmaelites, Moab and the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also joined with them. Assur. They have hope in the children of Lot. Selah. Okay? So all these heathen nations that are outside the tribes of Israel, the scriptures tells you that these are our enemies, and they've consulted against us, and they're confederate, meaning they're all joined together against us behind the scenes, behind closed doors. So back to Baruch. I'll read this again, verse 18. For he that brought these plagues upon you will deliver you from the hands of your enemies. So I just read the list of the enemies, and I read about salvation. It literally goes into deliverance from the molestation of enemies. Okay? Let's get that word molestation. Molestation definition. It says the action, it gives you the sexual, right, context, but we want the second definition for molestation in the Oxford Online Dictionary. It tells you it's the action of pestering or harassing someone in an aggressive or persistent manner. And that's what these heathen nations have done to us, and they still do it to us. Modern Roman soldier, right? The police do they not harass us? Do they not they're aggressive with us persistently? So this is the thing we got to get delivered from, okay? From these enemies of ours, who they look at us, and it's all prophecy. They look at us like, we're no good. They look at us like we're the bad guys, Let's tell you in Revelation, the accuser of thy brethren. They're constantly accusing us, these heathen. But the Most High is gonna deliver us from these heathen. But you dumbass 2/3, you want to take them with you. The same people that are molesting you, the same people that are harassing you, the same people that are being aggressive towards you throughout history, and you want to bring them with you. You want them to have salvation with you. And again, you're going off. It could be because you're not supposed to give your honor to another. All right? Verse 3, I'm going to read it again. Baruch 4:3. Give not thine honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation. Salvation is profitable for the Israelites, not for the other nations, not for the heathen Gentiles. Let's see. Go your way, O my children, go your way, for I am left desolate. I have put off the clothing of peace, and put upon me the sackcloth of my prayer. I will cry unto the everlasting in my days. And that's Baruch making an oath, right? Saying that he's in the right spirit. He's putting on the clothing of peace. And what is that? That's this ministry, this truth. Being in the right mindset. It says, and put upon me the sackcloth of my prayer. The sackcloth, that's why we wear those garments when we go out and teach, because we're in a time of mourning. Our people, as a tradition, would wear sackcloth during the times of mourning. And it says, I will cry unto the everlasting in my days. You're not supposed to be out here happy with the state of our people. You're not supposed to be hoping that this place continues forever. You want to be in captivity forever? You got to ask yourself that. And the bad thing is 2/3 of our people, they don't even consider that they're in captivity. They think this is a free country. They believe that bullshit. They actually buy into all the ideology and all the fucking madness of Babylon, the Great, America. They think this is their resting place, right? They're not crying to the everlasting. They're not crying out to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai for deliverance. They're in the total opposite. They're ass backwards the way they think, our people. It says, be of good cheer, O my children. Cry unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, and he will deliver you from the power of the hand of the enemies, right? You're supposed to be crying for deliverance, crying for salvation. Waiting on Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai to visit this place so that we could get to our kingdom. Not sitting here trying to build an empire, telling your kids, oh yeah, go to college. You're gonna, you're gonna be successful here in Babylon. No, man. This place is through. For my hope is in the everlasting, that he will save you. And the joy is come unto me from the Holy One, because of the mercy which shall soon come unto you from the everlasting, our Savior. Right? And Baruch, he had the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai on him, so he knew. He's like, the everlasting is going to save you. because the mercy is going to come onto you, right? For I sent you out with mourning and weeping, but the Most High will give you to me again with joy and gladness forever. Right. We know that this is not the end all be all. We know that joy is going to come, right? And that joy is salvation, being delivered from the molestation of our enemies. Like as now the neighbors of Sion have seen your captivity, so shall they see shortly your salvation from our power, which shall come upon you with great glory and brightness of the everlasting. Right, so right now, our enemies, they see us in slavery. They see us at the bottom of society, right? They see us, we got to work for them in most cases, right? We're working for the heathen nations, Esau, Edom, but you have, all these owners of these businesses, usually the majority of the owners of businesses are the heathen, right? The so-called white man, the so-called Arab, the so-called, Indians from India, the fucking, Elam, the so-called Ammonites, Japanese, and so-called Moabites, the Chinese, We're in captivity, and all these heathen nations see us, and they're witnessed our fall, and they see us as, the bottom of society. But the same people that see us, these heathen, they're going to also see our salvation, right? And let's get that in Wisdom of Solomon 5. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. So us that's standing in boldness, teaching on the street corners, they don't make no account of our labors. They're like, what are these guys doing? What in the world are these guys doing on the corners with garments on wearing garment? They think we look funny out there. We're a mockery. We're a joke. We're a spectacle to them, it tells you in the Bible. So they don't make no account of our labors, right? Even our own people. They don't believe that we're the men of the Lord. They don't believe that we have the answers for salvation. That's why when they see our salvation, they're going to be troubled with terrible fear. Why? Because it's going to be those chariots, what they call UFOs. They're going to be scared shitless, looking up in the sky, seeing all the chariots of Yahweh B'Shem Yashai gathering his elect. So far beyond all that they look for. Yeah, they're not expecting that to happen. They're not expecting a so-called Mexican or so-called black to go up in a so-called UFO. And we say so-called because those are not the true names of the things that I just mentioned. The so-called Mexican is an Issacharite. The so-called black man is more than likely a Jew, Benjaminite, or a Levite, or it could be really any of the tribes. But a so-called UFO is a chariot. So we say Issachar, Judite, chariot, they get thrown off. They don't know what that is. That's why we say so-called black, so-called Mexican, so-called UFO. You see? We got to speak in terms that you understand. It says, and they, repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach, right? They're going to be totally astonished, totally shocked, totally surprised that we are the men of the Lord. And when we're going up in that strange salvation, beyond the things that they're looking for, things that they never thought would happen. You just think about it. You see a bunch of so-called black people, so-called Mexicans, so-called, all the Israelites going up in what they call UFOs during a nuclear war. That's going to fucking throw them off big time. Right? And they're going to be like, this was he? This dude right here? I can't believe this guy is a man of the Lord. And how what the heck? I'm being burnt up in this nuclear fire while this dude who was always talking shit to me on a street corner, holding a Bible in his hand, and he's going up and he's being saved. He's receiving salvation. They're not going to believe it. The one we had in derision sometimes says, let me see, let me get a deeper definition on derision. Derision definition. Let's see, it didn't come up right. Contemptuous ridicule or mockery, scoffing, right? Disrespecting, taunts. They've done all of this to the camps. Insults, scorning, teasing, right? This is what they've done to all the camps. Scoffed us, mocked us, teased us, scorned us. You get the point. Verse 4, we fools account his life madness and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of the Most High, and his lot is among the saints? How is this dude one of the children of Yahweh? How is this dude one of the saints? You know? I thought the so-called white man was the saints. I thought the Edomite was the saints. You know, that's because that's what our people believe. They literally, and you say, oh no, we don't believe that. But then why do you pray to Cracker Jesus? You know? So, you know, I'm going to go ahead and close out on that note. You know, we know what it is. All right. We have this knowledge. We have this truth. We know what we worship. All right. So with that, I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ka Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom to the elect. Shalom, brothers. Keep enduring.